Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 19 of New Windsor. It's finally the episode where we're starting the airport. Right now we're looking at the stadium and apartments we built last episode. Zooming out from that, you can see we're going to be building the airport in between that area and the coast. And this airport's going to be massive compared to the city. Let's get building. Alright, so I know it's been a while since the last episode, but we're back, and we're building the airport. This is going to be really awesome. I can't say how long this will take. I really have no idea right now. It's going to be longer than I expected, most likely. I expected about 4 episodes, but it's going to be more than that, because this episode, all we really do is place down the layout, and we place the jet bridges and the planes next to the jet bridges, or at least the props, obviously, and get just the whole layout of the airport itself going. And I'm totally open to changing this at least a little bit. Maybe not the runways, because whenever I change runways, it destroys my airplane simulation, but I mean, just other stuff. I'm totally willing to change anything but the runways. Because, yeah, like, my airports have always been really buggy. The last airport I actually got to work was in Falcon Falls, my first series, and, you know, Aramore's was completely non-functional. This one actually functions, and you'll see it functioning later in the episode. It's just so satisfying, but my FPS is really bad, so getting cinematics is still quite annoying. I guess it's pertinent to note the airports I'm using as inspiration here. So I'm using the airport in Hartford, Connecticut mostly as inspiration. I did go off a little bit because obviously this location is way different from Hartford's. This geography is obviously right next to the ocean and pretty close to the downtown of the city. Hartford's is actually in the middle of nowhere, in between Hartford and Springfield, Massachusetts. So it's a much different geography than this airport, but I think it's still a decent layout to use. I don't actually use the Providence airport much in this episode, at least, as inspiration. Maybe I will later on, but as I said, it's mostly the airport in Hartford, and I take a little inspiration from the airport in Boston, but really not much. I was gonna show it, but there's really no point. I'll show it to you later, actually, when we work on the shoreline, because it'll definitely be a lot more relevant then. But anyway, we've got a big episode ahead. We've laid out the airport. Now we gotta shape the geography and place planes and all that stuff. So let's get straight into things. So right now we're working on the terminals themselves for the airport. Right now I'm pretty much placing a bunch of reference delta planes just to shape where exactly the jet bridges should be, because it's a little bit hard to do that without reference, and just placing all these planes here makes it a lot easier. I removed the planes in place of better variety of planes. For the most part, I mean, so this is an international airport. We've got an international terminal, which you saw me place a little bit earlier in this portion of the time lapse. It's small, and it's one story. Actually, it's pretty big considering the size of the airport, and it's probably the second largest international airport in New England, obviously behind Boston, because I don't see anything else surpassing that. I mean, like, what would? Definitely not Hartford. Hartford's got a pretty small international terminal from what I can tell. Providence, I don't even know if Providence is an international airport. But, I mean, New Windsor's airport is a lot bigger than you might expect an airport for this size city to be. But my idea is that New Windsor's probably set in Connecticut. It makes the most sense that it would be either that or somewhere on the south coast of Massachusetts, because there isn't really much room in Rhode Island for another big city, and it would make most sense to have New Windsor be set somewhere in Connecticut. And Connecticut's shore is pretty short on airports. You got to drive all the way up, in between Hartford and Springfield to get to a big international airport, but you've got a couple cities that are solid 100,000 population on the Connecticut shoreline, so it would make sense to have a pretty big airport somewhere in there, and especially with the addition of another city. You got New Haven, Bridgeport, you got Stamford rather, obviously New Windsor here. So yeah, you need a big airport. Like right here, I'm working on the international terminal, and so what I've done is I've placed some Air Canada stuff right here, and I've also placed an Aer Lingus plane, which I know it looks really confusing. Why is a massive Aer Lingus plane in the middle of here? Okay, so let me explain. First of all, Aer Lingus has a lot of nonstop flights from the East Coast and really the West Coast to Dublin. So you got Boston to Dublin, you've got New York to Dublin, Newark to Dublin, Philly, DC. So a lot of East Coast airports of decent size have nonstop flights to Dublin. And you combine that information with how there's this airport like an hour and a half north of Manhattan in the middle of nowhere that's barely even an airport that Norwegian has a weird monopoly at of some sort. I don't know. There are a lot of Norwegian flights out of there. It's a developing airport. But anyway, they fly nonstop to Dublin from Stewart for like $300. It makes sense that maybe Aer Lingus is also getting into the business of New England Air. I don't know, and I also like having the green planes around. It's a nice odd airline to add. I don't want to just have very, very generic stuff. I do add an SAS plane into the international terminal as well, and that is, I believe, a 737. Taser says that that's probably okay having a 737 there, but I don't know. You guys can definitely tell me. Just, it's really important to note, I'm not an airport person, and I'm gonna need a lot of help on this airport. So if you see anything wrong, please tell me. If it's very, very nitpicky, maybe don't tell me, because I won't even understand. So Darf is a workshop creator who makes some of the most detailed buildings out there, and they're specifically American buildings. Darf made a collection recently called the New England Collection, which has been really, really useful for me. It's buildings that are themed to look like New England buildings, and a lot of them are based on New England buildings, and they're so realistic, it's unbelievable. So I just wanted to plug Darf's workshop page right now, because Darf's been a major help throughout the series. So I'll link Darf's workshop in the description. But here is the Providence Theater, which is either out or is not out on the workshop. Check the description. But this is just such an awesome asset Darf has made. I have the perfect place to put this in a future district. Alright, so we've been working on the terraforming around the runways, and this is probably going to change a little bit in the future as I make it more detailed, but this is just the general idea for now. Just wanted to get the airport to look a little bit like what it might look like in the future this episode. I didn't want to go into too much detail. We're going to actually be doing that next episode, hopefully. I want to detail the runways and stuff like that so we can get some nice nighttime cinematics. I don't really do any nighttime cinematics at the I do like one nighttime cinematic at the airport this episode, but it's not as realistic as I'd like it to be. This is a work in progress, and I don't know how long it's going to take. I really can't wait to... Honestly, I'm really looking forward to the rental car stuff. I don't know why. I'm looking forward to that more than I'm looking forward to doing the runways. Maybe because I'm more familiar with it. I don't know. Honestly, once again, I'm not an airport person, so I'm gonna come at this a little bit weirdly. I know a lot of people are very, very excited building airports. I'm excited to get this done. It's not that I'd always wanted to build an airport. I've wanted to have built an airport. It's a hard task in this game to build a realistic, detailed airport. It's really difficult, takes a long time, and lots of planning. There was a lot of off-camera stuff in this episode that you didn't really see, and that's why it took so long to come out. And, I mean, hopefully I can just include that and maybe not get as much progress done, but, you know, have a longer episode next time. I don't know. I'm really not sure how much you all want to see of what seems like pointless detailing, but, or not detailing, rather, just planning, but I'm not sure. Anyway, right now we're working on the area where the longest runway hits the water. And, okay, I should probably show you what this is all based on, this terraforming. I'm working based off what the Boston airport looks like, and the Boston airport has a pretty large marshy area around the runways, and next to some of them, there are, like, retaining walls and obviously a lot more artificial, and that's what I'm sort of doing right now. I don't actually do very artificial retaining walls. I actually do, like, I use strict toasters retaining walls, or not retaining walls, the breakwaters, and I sort of make retaining walls out of those, more natural looking ones. I mean, the retaining walls in the Boston airport are actually using breakwater rocks like that, but they're a lot steeper. I don't want to go as steep. I want it to be a little bit more natural looking, so you'll see that later. I probably would have done that sort of style around all of the runways and stuff, rather than doing so many marshes, or at least most of the runways, but the problem is, it uses up a lot of breakwaters. Like, you'll see later. I don't know why I'm talking about all this right now, but the breakwater buildings that I use are really, really small. The rocks are small, and I have to place loads and loads of them. I just completely destroy my FPS if I did that, so I'm just sticking to the marshy vibe, which I think looks just as cool. I really like it. Right now, so we're starting with the breakwaters over at the back end of the runway, and the LODs look a little bit weird on these. Not the actual LODs themselves, just when you combine a lot of them together, it looks a little bit weird, but I try to mix these in with some nature around them, just lots and lots of little plants and stuff like that, and you'll see a little later I add some drainage, like some pipes, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I wanted to reiterate, I really don't know what I'm doing, and I'm willing to say that. I need a lot of help here with the airport, so give me a bunch of comments, runway lengths, whatever it is that you have as suggestions. Once again, I want to stream soon because I'll be able to get a lot of very quick responses there and try to improve the airport over a nice short period of time, but that's definitely in the future. I don't know when I'll get time for that. I've been pretty busy, so if the next episode doesn't come out for a couple weeks, that's probably why. But anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. It's finally coming to an end. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, and that really helps new people find the videos if, see them in the suggested page or whatever. If you want to follow along as I build the airports, probably pretty slowly, definitely subscribe so you get notifications whenever I upload. Actually, you'll only be able to get those notifications if you hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button too, so do that, keep up with the series, and you can check out the new Windsor playlist as well. You can binge all 18 other episodes of the series rather than doing your homework tonight. I didn't say that. You can follow me on Twitter. I post screenshots and teasers there, etc. Follow me on Instagram. I post my best screenshots, create a little gallery there. Join the Steam chat and talk with a bunch of other people who like City Skylines about your creations, problems you got, whatever. That's in the description too. So yeah. Anyway, cinematics time.